this week's episode, we take a look at updates on the Euro New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar Swiss franc, and some new setups submitted by members of our community on New Zealand Swiss franc, Aussie dollar JPY, and Euro Aussie dollar. As always, we'll also take a look at some of the best trades taken in our Discord trading room. Enjoy. Welcome traders. I'm going to start us off by looking at a few setups that we've been following here in our weekly market review, and the first is that of a Euro New Zealand dollar. Now, in last week's episode, we were around about this area, and we were looking for this market to make the correction and then start to head higher. We had a perfect little move this week and a perfect little entry, but ideally during this week we're going to be looking for some continuation. So any bit of a corrective pattern again, perhaps into this level, we'll look to take this market higher again. We got our first target marked at this level, and this is where we're going to reassess whether the market might head lower again, or perhaps continue going higher for the higher targets. But for now, this one is going exactly as planned, so it makes sense to start looking to add to this one. I just want to jump to the lower time frames quickly to show you guys a bit of an entry technique that you could have used. Now, the first entry technique you could have used is just as simple as set and forget, using the higher time frame. And using the 61% February trace, this could have been a bit of a set and forget entry. And that would have been quite a nice little entry, but your stops would have been at this level over here. But if you were in front of the screens, you could have also used one of our 15-minute reversal patterns. And just looking on the 15-minute time frame, this is where we headed into our potential action zone, and we had our impulsive move up, and then we had our correction to form one of our reversal patterns, and this right here would have been quite a nice little entry according to the rules of our trading program. For those of you that don't know, we do offer a free training program. Some of our traders that have completed it, Sean and Lex and those guys have been doing really well. So if you need any more info, just head over to our website to see how you can enroll for free in our training program. But anyway, just to recap, next week we'll be looking for corrective patterns to take this market higher again. And another one we covered 3 weeks ago was Aussie dollar Swiss franc, and these are still the markings left from that episode. And we marked off this flip zone area and the 78% fib as a potential zone for entry. And it took us 3 weeks to get there, but if you were patient enough, this would have been a perfect little entry. And we're looking for the market to form this bigger correction. So again, one that's going to plan, and one we're going to be looking to add next week. And we got this very nice level over here that formed. And again, ideally next week, if we find corrective pattern to this area, then that'll be a great place to add to take this market lower again. So yeah, another one that's going quite nicely, so I definitely want to watch out for next week. Next up, we're going to be looking at New Zealand Swiss franc. This was submitted by Sean in our trading room, and he's got one of our reversal patterns marked off here. And if I can just switch to my trading view, this was actually one we also shared. I think this was shared on the 11th of June, and again it took about 3 weeks to get there. But similar to the Aussie dollar Swiss franc, we got to these levels that we were waiting for, and then we had the reaction. So a pretty similar sort of setup as the Aussie dollar Swiss franc. What we're going to be looking for next week is a corrective price action again, and then we got this nice little level to take this market lower. So yeah, nice little setup there by Sean, and definitely one we will be watching next week. Next up, we're looking at Aussie dollar JPY submitted by Mr. IBM07 Ibrahim, I believe his name is. Makes quite consistent, good contributions to our group. And he's looking at the Aussie dollar JPY on the daily time frame here. As you guys can see, we took this liquidity, and now we're looking for a bit of a move down. Again, similar to the previous two setups that we shared. And just moving to my trading view account here, this is what we call a bit of a reach around pattern. They're quite good patterns that we look for when the market creeps up to this liquidity points and we get the reaction. Again, we're going to have to watch the price action, and hopefully if we get corrective price action into this area, we can find a short, and we got some clear targets to the downside here. Just something to watch out for if we do perhaps make a bit of a consolidation here and we start impulsing up, and maybe we'll make another high. But ideally what I would like to see is this high hold and the market making those lower lows. So thanks for this one, Ibrahim. Definitely one for the watch list. And lastly, I want to look at Euro Aussie dollar, and this chart was submitted by Red Star, one of the most active members of our community. And he's looking for longs on the Euro Aussie dollar, and we have this really nice correction over here, and then the impulse. So any sort of correction will look to take this market higher. Just moving to my trading view, we actually had a really nice long setup last week in our trading room. You can actually watch the setup at the end of this video. And we had the correction and then the impulse. And again, what we're going to be looking for next week is to add to this trade any sort of corrective price action, and we're going to hopefully take this market higher. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go, how high this is going to go, but this looks quite bullish after we took this liquidity. So potentially we could go much higher on the Euro Aussie dollar. So yeah, quite a few Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar pairs that we're going to be watching next week. But that's it from me, guys. I'll see you all in the trading room next week, and good luck for the week. Cheers.